Chapter 39. Matt took Emilio Garcia into custody. Because of Emilio's connections with the Vista Ridge Police Department, Matt wanted to keep him out of the Vista Ridge lockup. He did not want Garcia accidentally overdosing. "You should go home," Matt told Joe, who appeared white and shaky. "You need the rest." "I want to sit in on this," Joe said stubbornly. "About that, I'm not ready to talk to him yet," Matt said. "Why?" Kat and Joe asked simultaneously. "I thought of something. I could kick myself in the ass for not thinking of it earlier." Kat arched an eyebrow. "What?" "The video from the travel stop, from the payoff. Cynthia said she and Emilio met the client at Bud's travel stop on I-35. Most of those places have video surveillance covering every inch of the property." "So?" Joe asked. "So we might have the person who hired Emilio on camera. Bud's is 45 minutes up I-35. I want to see the tape before we interview Emilio." "I'll go," Joe offered. Matt shook his head. "You're going home. If I have to, I'll call Bree," Matt threatened. "That's not fair." "Matt's right," Kat said. "You look like shit. You need to rest." Joe stared at Matt for a long moment, then his shoulders sagged in defeat. "Keep me in the loop?" "Every step of the way," Matt promised. "Get some sleep. This isn't over yet." After Joe left, Kat turned to Matt. "You really think the client was stupid enough to show up in person for the payoff?" "People do stupid things all the time." Matt grabbed his jacket. "Need backup?" Kat asked. "Number, I'll let you know what I find." The drive to Bud's travel stop took exactly 47 minutes. The interstate nearly empty this late at night. Matt parked by the door, entered, and approached a middle-aged woman at the register. Her name tag read Gloria. "Manager on duty?" Matt asked, flashing his badge. Gloria eyed the badge with mild interest. "That'd be Randy. He's in back." She pressed a button under the counter. "I'll call him up." Matt waited, his gaze sweeping across the store. Security cameras were mounted in each corner of the ceiling, standard dome models that recorded everything. If Cynthia's information was accurate, those cameras might have captured exactly what he needed. A heavy-set man in his early 30s emerged from a back room, wiping his hands on his uniform shirt. "Randy Wilcox," he said, offering a firm handshake. Matt showed his credentials again. "Special Agent Matt Berry, Texas Bureau of Investigation. I need to look at your security footage." Randy's eyebrows shot up. "Something happened I should know about?" "It's related to an ongoing investigation. Is there somewhere we can talk privately?" Randy nodded, gesturing toward the back. "Office is this way." He led Matt through a door marked Employees Only and down a short hallway to a cramped office. A desk dominated the small space, cluttered with paperwork, coffee cups, and a computer monitor. A second monitor on a side table displayed a grid of security camera feeds covering the store, restaurant, and parking areas. "Systems digital," Randy explained, logging into the computer. "We keep about 2 weeks of footage before it overwrites. What exactly are you looking for?" Matt pulled out his notebook. "I need to see footage from Tuesday night, around 10:30 p.m. I'm looking for 3 people meeting at a table in your restaurant area." Randy's fingers moved across the keyboard. He navigated through folders, clicking on the appropriate date. Randy nodded. He pulled up the footage and set the timestamp for 10:15 p.m. "I'll start a little early so you don't miss anything." The screen filled with a clear view of the dining area. Despite the late hours, several tables were occupied. The footage played, showing the mundane activity of a late-night truck stop. Matt watched intently, scanning each person who entered the frame. At 10:22 p.m., he spotted them. "There," Matt said, pointing to the screen. "That's them." Cynthia entered first, followed closely by Emilio Garcia. They chose a table in the corner, just as Cynthia had described, and sat facing the entrance. "Can you zoom in?" Matt asked. Randy adjusted the view, enlarging the image. "Best I can do without losing clarity." "It's good enough," Matt said, watching as Cynthia and Emilio appeared to make small talk. At 10:28 p.m., another figure entered the frame. "Stop right there," Matt pointed. The monitor showed 3 individuals sitting at a table. Cynthia and Emilio clearly recognizable. "Back it up," Matt said, feeling his pulse quicken. The manager rolled the video back in slow motion. "Stop," Matt said. "Play it from this point." The screen showed Cynthia and Emilio entering the store and walking to an empty table to sit. Can you move it forward in slow motion until the third person enters? Matt asked. Sure. The manager punched a button. The video moved slowly forward. A minute passed, then two. Finally, a third person entered the frame. A heavy-set man dressed in jeans and a button-down shirt. He wore a baseball cap pulled low over his face, a weak attempt at disguise. Matt leaned closer. Despite the cap, the face was clearly visible when the man turned to scan the restaurant before approaching Emilio and Cynthia's table. Cal Merrick. Matt felt a cold certainty settle in his gut. It made perfect sense. The wealthy father eager to avenge his son's murder. Only Merrick had targeted the wrong person. You know him? Randy asked, noticing Matt's reaction. Yeah, Matt said quietly. I know him. He watched as Merrick took a seat at the table. At one point, Merrick slid a newspaper across the table. The meeting lasted less than 5 minutes before Merrick stood, gave a curt nod, and walked out. I need that video, Matt said. It's on the hard drive, the manager explained. Fine. For now, make me a copy. Also, make sure that hard drive doesn't get erased or written over. Consider it impounded as evidence. I'll send technicians up to properly secure it. Randy nodded. Anything else you need, Agent Barry? Matt watched the frozen image of Cal Merrick on the screen, the man who'd had Reed McKnight killed for a crime he didn't commit. No, Matt said. I've got exactly what I need. The interrogation room was windowless and bland. Matt leaned forward, his elbows resting on the metal table between them. Listen carefully, Matt told Emilio Garcia. You have a window of opportunity here. It's a small window and it won't stay open long. I want Cal Merrick, the guy who hired you. Right now you're looking at the death penalty. Murder for remuneration is a capital offense. Next to him, Kat sat with her arms crossed tightly across her chest. She glared at Garcia with undisguised contempt, her blue eyes cold as ice. The thing about Kat, she didn't have to pretend to be the bad cop. The role came naturally to her, like breathing. Garcia looked miserable, beaten, and terrified. And if I cooperate, Garcia's voice cracked. We'll talk to the prosecutors. You'll do time, a lot of time, but you might stand a chance of getting out. Garcia's eyes darted between Matt and Kat. Matt could almost see the calculations running behind Garcia's eyes, weighing consequences, measuring risks. Garcia exhaled heavily, his shoulders slumping in defeat. He knew there were no options. What do you want to know? Who put you in touch with Merrick? Matt asked. Garcia hesitated, his gaze dropping to the table. I don't know. The sudden crash even made Matt flinch. Kat had slammed her hand on the table with enough force to send Garcia's empty paper cup bouncing onto the floor. She half rose from her chair, leaning across the table until her face was inches from Garcia's. Answer the fucking question, she shouted, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. Garcia recoiled violently, nearly toppling his chair backward in his haste to create distance. After he recovered from his own surprise, Matt put a hand gently but firmly on her elbow, a silent signal to dial it back. You should answer, Matt suggested, his reasonable tone a stark contrast to Kat's outburst. It'll go better for everyone. Looking fearfully at Kat, who had settled back into her chair but maintained her glare, Garcia swallowed hard. A bead of sweat rolled down his temple. A friend of mine, Carlos Martinez, he finally said. Tell us about that, Matt said. Garcia's fingers drummed nervously on the table as he spoke. He called me and asked if I wanted to make some extra money. I told him, sure. What do I have to do? He said he knew a guy who wanted a problem eliminated. I asked him what kind of problem. He said a guy murdered this dude's son, and the man wanted revenge. Garcia licked his dry lips. I asked him what the job pays. He said $20,000 to me. What does Carlos get? Matt asked without looking up. I think Carlos got money for finding me. I'm not sure how much. How many times did you talk to Carlos? Kat asked. A couple? How many times is a couple? Kat demanded, her chair creaking as she leaned forward again. The threat of another outburst hung in the air. 2 or 3, Garcia mumbled. Which is it? 2 or 3? Kat snapped. 3 times. The interview progressed slowly and deep into the night. They patiently walked Garcia through each step of the hiring, the planning, the murder, and the payoff, paying particular attention to Merrick's involvement. Merrick was convinced of McKnight's guilt in the murder of his son, Raymond. According to Garcia, as far as Merrick was concerned, there was no need for a trial. Trials took too long, and anything could happen. Merrick wanted to ensure justice. Early in the morning, after sending Garcia to his cell with a uniformed officer, Matt sat alone with Kat in the interview room. "What do you think?" Matt asked. Kat yawned once, her first show of fatigue. "We have Merrick on video making the payoff for the murder. We have Garcia's statement. We have a motive, revenge for the murder of his son. I say we put Merrick's photograph in a lineup and show it to Cynthia Ram. Then we bring Carlos Martinez in. We need a confession from him." She tucked a strand of blonde hair behind her ear and continued without breaking rhythm. "We subpoena Merrick's bank records and follow the money. We might also try wiring Garcia and having him set up a meeting with Merrick." She shook her head slightly. "I'm betting Merrick is too smart to fall for that trap. Either way, we've got him." Kat paused. "But a jury might let him go." "Why?" "Sympathy. He killed the man who murdered his son. This is Texas." Matt shook his head. "He's not going to get a lot of sympathy for orchestrating the murder of an innocent man, which is what he did." Matt stumbled through his front door at 5 a.m. He tossed his keys onto the counter, switched on the kitchen light, and stared at the refrigerator without really seeing it. His phone showed 2 missed calls from Penny. She'd be awake in New York by now, probably getting ready for her day. He didn't bother making coffee. Sleep would come first, then caffeine. He dropped onto the edge of the bed, kicked off his shoes, and pulled out his phone. His thumb hovered over Penny's number, considering whether to wait until he'd gotten some sleep. But she'd want to know immediately, so he called her. "Hey," she said. "I was starting to worry. You okay?" "Yeah," Matt said, lying back on the bed, still fully dressed. "Just got home. Long night." "Everything okay?" Penny asked. "We got him, Penny. We got the man responsible for killing your father." There was silence on the other end of the line. When Penny spoke again, her voice had changed, tight with emotion. "Who? Who was it?" "The killer is a guy named Emilio Garcia. He was a detention officer. The man who hired him is Cal Merrick." The silence stretched longer this time. Matt could hear Penny's breathing. "Penny?" "I'm here," she said finally. "I just need a minute." Matt waited. "Where are they now?" Penny asked. "Garcia is in jail. Merrick is still out there. Kat is taking the lead on bringing him in." "Kat, your sister? The one who arrested my father? The one who paraded him in front of TV cameras like some trophy?" "I know how you feel," Matt said carefully. "And yes, she's the one who built the case against your dad. But she knows she fucked up. Trust me, Penny. She'll work twice as hard to get to the bottom of all this now." Penny sighed. "I want Merrick in prison." "He will be. The evidence against him is strong." Matt found the lawsuit without difficulty. He'd set up his laptop on the kitchen table, the mid-morning light streaming through the windows. Working from the house, he called up the Vista Ridge County District Clerk's website. From the district clerk's site, he navigated to case records and typed Worth into the search field. 17 results appeared. He scrolled through them, eliminating small claims and family court matters, until he spotted what he was looking for: a civil lawsuit in the 758th District Court. The docket sheet loaded. Case number 2023 CV 4589. Style of the case: Andrew Worth versus Cal Merrick, Alvin Black, Jeff Johnson, Craig Daniel, and A.R. Ayure Auto Salvage, Inc. Matt recognized 3 of the names instantly: fathers of dead teenagers. He clicked on the link for the plaintiff's original petition, downloaded the PDF, and began reading. The legal language was dense, but the story was clear enough. Andrew Worth alleged he and the 4 other men, Merrick, Black, Johnson, and Daniel, had agreed to form a company called AAA Auto Salvage. They were supposed to split the profits equally, 5 ways. But somewhere along the line, according to Worth, the others had screwed him out of his rightful share. The attorneys had dressed it up in legalese, of course, words like breach of fiduciary duty and unjust enrichment. But the gist was plain. They'd fucked him over. Matt stood, stretching his back, which had stiffened from sitting too long. He paced the kitchen, pouring a fresh cup of coffee as the implications sank in. This couldn't be a coincidence. He'd been looking for connections between the victims, but maybe the connection was one generation removed in their fathers. He returned to his laptop, scrolling further through the document. Worth claimed the defendants had incorporated the business without his knowledge, issued shares only to themselves, and then forced him to sign a simple employment agreement instead of recognizing him as a partner. According to the lawsuit, Worth had signed because he didn't understand what he was signing away. Matt clicked through to the defendants' responses. As expected, they'd filed nearly identical answers to the suit. The language varied slightly from document to document, but the substance was the same. Worth had known exactly what he was signing. No fraud, no coercion, no misrepresentation. "Your Honor, we fucked him fair and square," Matt translated wryly. The defendants had claimed Worth was merely an employee who'd gotten ideas above his station. They'd attached the signed employment agreement as an exhibit, complete with Worth's signature on the dotted line. He spent the next few hours digging deeper, pulling up motions for summary judgment, responses, counter motions, affidavits, and finally the judge's ruling. The ruling itself was unsurprising. Judge Preston had dismissed Worth's case entirely, accepting the defendant's argument that Worth had entered into an employment agreement knowingly and voluntarily. Reading between the lines, the ruling essentially said that the defendants had, indeed, fucked Worth fairly and legally. Matt flipped his spiral steno pad to a fresh page. At the top, he wrote Worth in block letters, underlining it twice. Then he began listing what he knew. Worth feels cheated out of his interest in a successful business. Worth files a lawsuit and loses. Worth later commits suicide. Children of those Worth blamed for cheating him are murdered. He tapped his pen against the paper, thinking. There was more. He continued his list. Kelly Worth's vehicle is recorded by a police scanner as being out around the time of the disposition of a body. A white Toyota, license plate unidentifiable, is filmed at the scene where Raymond Merrick's body is dumped. An unidentified male of the approximate height of Harold Worth is filmed dumping the body at the scene. Matt stared at the list, the connections crystallizing in his mind. He added a final line. Harold, Kelly, both? He sat back, a sense of grim satisfaction washing over him. After weeks of chasing dead ends, the framework of the puzzle was finally coming together. The stage was set, the key players identified. There were still many, many missing pieces, but now he knew where to focus his attention. The law offices of Tovar and Associates occupied the 12th floor of a glass tower in downtown Vista Ridge. Matt sat in a leather chair across from Alex Tovar's desk. "I appreciate you seeing me on short notice," Matt said to Alex Tovar. "Glad to help," Tovar replied. Tovar was older, easily in his 60s, distinguished looking with a full head of gray hair. "I want to know about the lawsuit between Andrew Worth and the others over the salvage business," Matt said. "That was an unfortunate case," Tovar said. "You said you read the pleadings. The pleadings lay it all out. The 5 of them went into business together. Worth had the experience and know-how. He'd been in the business all his life. The rest of them put up the seed money." Tovar leaned back in his chair, the leather creaking softly. Worth, for whatever reason, didn't pay attention to the paperwork. The others incorporated the business and issued themselves stock. Worth signed an employment agreement with the company, the result of which made him an employee. "You couldn't get around it?" Matt asked. Tovar sighed, a weary sound that suggested he'd revisited this failure many times. We tried. Worth had some emails, but they all predated the employment agreement. Those guys knew what they were doing." His tone hardened slightly. "They cut him a payroll check religiously every 2 weeks. At the end of the first year, they gave him a W-2 form. On paper, he was an employee of the corporation." "Did you ask Worth why he signed the employment agreement?" Matt asked. "Of course. He didn't have a good answer. My opinion is that he wanted so badly for this to work, he was willing to sign anything to get the funding, to get the business off the ground. It came back and bit him in the ass." "What brought it to a head?" "Money. The business took off. It became profitable. The Gang of Four, as I called them, began to bring in their own people. It became clear, even to Worth, he was on his way out. He raised a fuss. They fired him, and he brought his lawsuit." And the judge threw it out, Matt said. Yes. Did you have any dealings with Worth's wife or son? Matt asked. Kelly was there every step of the way, he said. I may have met the son one time. What were your impressions of Kelly? Matt pressed. Tovar gave Matt a funny look, his head tilting slightly as if seeing the agent in a new light. Does this have something to do with the murders? The abrupt shift caught Matt slightly off guard. We interview everyone, Matt said smoothly, deflecting the question. What can you tell me about Kelly's demeanor during the lawsuit? She was pissed off. Andrew, in my opinion, was resigned to his fate. He knew he'd fucked up. Tovar's voice took on a harder edge. Kelly was the driving force behind the lawsuit. At one point, the others offered a settlement. Not big, but not a pittance either. Kelly refused to even consider it. I think if Andrew had his way, he would have taken it. And after the judge threw the case out, how was Kelly then? Matt asked. Livid, he said. She wanted to appeal. I told her I wasn't an appellate lawyer and sent them to a specialist. The appellate court sided with the trial judge. And the kid, the son, played no part in all this, he asked. Not in my presence, Tovar replied. Did anyone ever make any threats? Andrew? Kelly? Anyone else? Emotions are often high during litigation, Tovar said. People say all kinds of things. If someone said something, it didn't grab my attention.